Hello, hello, good morning, good morning. We are so glad you can be here. This is my favorite part of the webinar when all the attendees start populating. So it's great to see, a lot of familiar faces or names at least. Fantastic. We're so glad you could be here. Excellent. This is great. 26 folks. We've got approximately about 50 folks registered, which is an intimate group. Last week we did a webinar with like hundreds of people. So we're so glad to see our LA family here. Fantastic. And any folks who are not from LA, that's all right. We love you too. Okay, it's slowed down just a little bit. So this is excellent. Hello, yes, feel free to chime into the chat and tell us who you are, where you're here from. We'd love to hear you. This is excellent. What organization you're with, if you're with a K-12, County Office of Ed, if you're with LACO, if you're with a community college, or you're an aligned friend and colleague. Okay, excellent. Hey, Glendale's in the house. Wonderful. North Valley Military Institute, interesting. Bassett Unified, fantastic. Monrovia's here. Oh, I love it. This is so cool. LA Unified. Fantastic. Green Dot, hello, Green Dot. We've got folks here from San Diego, North San Diego County. Excellent. This is wonderful. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I wanted to, so today we're going to focus on dual enrollment, the dual enrollment opportunity grants. And I wanted to give a special thank you to Linda Bermudez. She's the director of K-14 Technical Assistant Programs at the LA Regional Consortium. And we are here because she asked for something that was to help out LA folks. But of course, we're happy for folks who are in San Diego and everywhere else who are joining us. So Linda, thank you so much. Excellent. For folks who might not know our organization, we're the Career Ladders Project. We're a nonprofit. We're based in Oakland, but we operate all over the state. I am down here in Torrance. And we believe in community college redesign that's equitable. So we really help community colleges and their partners to do their jobs better. And we also believe that community colleges are a strategic lever to help alleviate poverty in the state of California. So that's why we do what we do. And of course, dual enrollment is all about community college and K-12 partnerships in so many ways. So let's go on to the next slide. Our agenda for today, we're going to do a general, I just did the welcome. We're going to do an overview of the dual enrollment opportunities, the dual enrollment grants. We're going to really focus in on the CCAP grant, but we can talk about the early and middle college ones as well. Then we're going to zoom out to a bigger picture, and our colleagues and friends from Unite LA are going to share this awesome tool, and we're going to hear from the Fast Forward California Coalition and our dear friend at the Link Learning Alliance, and then we're going to take some questions. But we've got all kinds of folks here to help us out today, so let's go to the next slide. Our CLP team is myself, I'm Dr. Naomi Castro. I'm a dual enrollment expert with Career Ladders Project, Senior Director. We've got Eder Flores, who is our amazing program associate and kind of running things behind the scene. And Laurencia Walker, who's an amazing director with Career Ladders Project and also a dual enrollment expert. And then next slide, we have some super extra special guests today. So we're very happy to have Diane Crum. She is a program consultant with the California Department of Ed. She's the one, when you ask those questions via email about these grant opportunities, she's the one who reads those questions and answers them. We also are very happy to have our dear colleague, Adam Gottlieb, here from Unite LA. He's a director of post-secondary strategy and policy, which sounds super fancy, and it is, but he's a real down-to-earth guy. And then we're also just so pleased to have Dr. Emily Pashas here with us. She's a vice president of policy at the Linked Learning Alliance. Again, sounds like a super fancy position, and it is, but she's like straight up and down to earth and just super duper awesome. So before we go any further, or actually let's go further with the slides. We know folks are like, we want these RFAs, we want these grant applications. So if you have your phone, if you're on your computer, you have your phone, you can look at the QR code right there. And I dropped the link in the chat to those grants. Now this recording will be sent out. We'll also compile all the links and the slides. So you're going to have all of this. There's the grants right there. So right there. So let's go on to the next slide. I'm going to try and provide some kind of an overview of the context of where we are right now. So first thing, this is the most historic budget for those of us who are involved in dual enrollment in California history. We had all this amazing funding for K-16 collaboratives, which Adam's going to talk a little bit about too. That's $250 million. And they are focused on pathways, transition to college, and many focus on dual enrollment as well. Then we're going to have, hopefully in the next couple of months, some grant opportunities for the Golden State Pathways. Emily's going to talk about that a little bit, but $500 million to help us strengthen pathways from high school to community college onto 4-year and into employment. And that also requires dual enrollment, 12 units of early college credit. And then today we're going to focus on the dual enrollment grant opportunities. And then also for my dear friends, especially who are in community college world, we have the California Community College Roadmap. Now that's not a grant opportunity, but it's basically sets out goals for California community colleges and what we want to do. It's kind of like an extension of the Vision for Success. And amongst those goals is utilizing dual enrollment to help close equity gaps in college access, and also to increase the percent of high school students who take at least 12 units of college credit while they're in high school by 15%. So all of these efforts are aligned, plus there's more aligned efforts as well. So let's go on. There's $200 million in dual enrollment funds available right now. Half of that is for CCAP and CCAP expansion, and then half of that is for early or middle college high schools. We'll talk more about that. And then $500 million for the Golden State Pathways. Again, those RFAs are not out yet, but they are imminent. They are coming, right? There's going to be some technical assistance ones first, and then some planning and implementation grants. And so we want you to start thinking about those as you're doing your dual enrollment grants, right? So the what you're planning for in dual enrollment hopefully will set you up very well to be a successful applicant with your partnerships for Golden State Pathways. You can see, let's go ahead to the next slide, that the Golden State Pathways have a number of areas beyond just the college credits that are really essential for dual enrollment as well. Partnerships, which include secondary, post-secondary employers and community-based organizations, like as broadly as your imagination can go, that's who you can partner with. Golden State Pathways also has priority pathways, education, healthcare, technology, and STEM, especially STEM that's climate related. So think about those as you're planning your dual enrollment as well. It has to be integrated. College and career. Gone are the days where it's just CTE or it's just traditional academics. We're integrated. Work-based learning, quality standards, and the legislation calls out linked learning as an example of quality standards for pathways. So let's keep on going. But this is what you're here for, because this is what the deadline is. The dual enrollment opportunity. So we're going to dig into these. $100 million for college and career access pathways, CCAP. Please chime into the chat. If CCAP is a new term for you, that's a-okay. But if it is, let us know, and we can make sure we get some information to you. But so these grants could be used for brand new CCAP agreements. That's exciting. And CCAPs are district to district, right? So if you're in a school district that does not have a CCAP agreement, you can use this to start a CCAP agreement. But we also know that many districts have CCAP agreements. So you can use this funding to expand your CCAP, and you can expand in a few ways. You can simply serve more students. That would be wonderful. So for example, if at your high school you have, I don't know, maybe 3 cohorts of CCAP students, you could use this funding to expand to more cohorts. Or if you're in a district, and I'm using pretend numbers here, if you have 10 high schools in your district, you have a CCAP agreement, but only 5 of those high schools are really working and have CCAP classes at the moment, then you can use this funding to expand to those other high schools where CCAP hasn't really taken hold yet. And then the expansion that is just nearest and dearest to my heart is that you can expand in the area of student supports. You can include robust pupil advising, student support, student success support services, and outreach to promote dual enrollment, something that we always mention with our families and community members. And then similarly, the middle college and early college awards, a different award amount up to $250,000. They can be for new middle colleges or early college high schools. They can be to expand existing middle college or early college high schools to serve more students. And then they can also similarly be expanded to provide more support services. This is all fantastic. Like, we love all of this. So let's go to the next slide. The timeline. This is quick. So the grant opportunity, the applications, also called the RFA, request for applications, has been released. It's out there. You can go to those websites and find the application. The applications are due on March 30th, and they are due at 4 p.m. Not 5 p.m., not 11:59 p.m. They're due at 4 p.m. The grantees will be announced in June. The project term begins in July, and funds will be dispersed in September, which is just fantastic. And then you have all the way until 2027 to use up your funds. So this is not a year-long project. You've got some time. So that's also very, very exciting. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Laurencia.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Castro. So a lot of you may be wondering, well, what type of activities are allowable? What's not allowable? What can I write in this grant? What would make sense? And so this is just a very, very high level synopsis. Again, within those grant applications, you'll see more detail, but you want to take away that there is flexibility. And Diane had a great recommendation. You may want to start with the non-allowables and then work backwards from there, because there is a plethora of activities that would be allowable within this grant. So just again, high level, improving program capacity, time and effort regarding establishing partnerships, enrollment related processes. We all know that there are some challenges there. So improving the technology related to that perhaps, or people just designing better opportunities for students as they enter the institution. Program pathway design, being really intentional with that. Embedded student supports, collaboration and planning time, and directed outreach for your dual enrollment population. So there's, again, greater detail and examples of what that could mean within the RFAs. But just to give a quick glimpse into the non-allowables, supplanting existing services, equipment for administrators, purchase, lease, remodel of furniture and facilities, high school textbooks and journal periodical subscriptions would not be allowable. And that really makes sense in terms of the high school textbooks, because these are in fact college classes. And so you could pay for college textbooks. So that in fact would be allowable, just as an example. And so take a look at those and really be intentional about how you can design and use these funds to create those equitable opportunities for students. We'll go on to the next slide, just to talk a little bit more about what you can expect. Next slide, please. All righty, so we'll just go ahead and continue on. A few clarifying points. You may be wondering, well, who can apply for this? Is it the community college? Is it the high school? So it would in fact be the LEAs, so school districts, charter schools, county offices of education are all eligible to apply. We'll talk a little bit more about the engagement of your college partners as it relates to those applications. We'll get to that in a minute. How many applications can an LEA submit? An LEA must submit a separate application for each high school, and you can also write for a district level support as well within your application. Another clarifying point, or maybe, can I use funds for this or that? Again, refer to that RFA to get those specific examples for what would make sense and is allowable. And again, if you have questions, there's specific emails that are related to each grant. So there's an email where you can email questions for the CCAP grant, and then a separate email for the middle and early college grant. There's also priority points that are part of the application. And again, we're going to send out a copy of the presentation to folks. So don't worry, you'll get all the information that I'm talking about now, and we'll also review that. So the priority points will go to LEAs that have higher than average dropout rates, the rate of suspension and expulsion, and rates of homelessness, foster youth, or justice-involved youth are part of that priority metric. LEAs with lower than average A through G completion rates would also get priority points, and LEAs with at least 50% of students unduplicated, and that encapsulates English learners, economically disadvantaged, and foster youth. And so these are, again, priority points, but by no means are they requirements. So don't rule yourself out. Those, again, are priority points, not minimum requirements for applications. Moving right along to the RFA scoring, there's a few different components. There's one that is an overall overview of your partnership. Specifics about your partnership, pathway design. So you're going to want to mention the opportunity for dual credit, if that makes sense in that area for you all. You're going to want to talk about student supports as well as sustainability. As a quick shout out in terms of sustainability, we're going to be talking about the Golden State Pathways opportunity. So that's maybe forthcoming and something that you could speak to. When we talk about CCAP agreements, we always like to give the reminder of the intent for CCAP. Again, those college and career access pathway partnerships. They were designed for students who are underrepresented in higher education or who may not otherwise see themselves as college going. So again, an opportunity to engage students that have been historically excluded from opportunities. So this is a great way to be more inclusive of those college opportunities. And then with the other component, with the scoring, you're also going to want to be very clear in your budget narrative. Again, the justification and tying of activities to that budget narrative. So being intentional and thoughtful about how the narrative and budget worksheet are connected. And then you're also going to want a letter of support and commitment from your district, the high school district superintendent. And then with your college partners, you're going to want a letter of commitment from the college superintendent president of either the district or the specific college you're working with. So that's the partnership with the college as it relates to these grants. So the LEAs are the writers, but you need to connect with your college partners to get that letter of support. And hopefully they're part of the collaboration and the planning of it also. And with that, Dr. Castro, are you ready to take over?
Sure. Thank you so much. So just, full transparency, we lost our Wizard of Oz. So I've been sharing the slides, and I'm not very good at that, but we will persevere. Please keep your questions coming in the chat and in the Q&A section. We will have a good chunky amount of time to get to all of those questions. We're compiling them, and we're going to get to go through all of them together, or as many as we can. So keep asking those questions. They're really, really good. With that, I did want to let's see, give us one more review on the Golden State Pathways. It says my screen sharing is paused. Can you all see my screen, the slides?
No, it
can't?
says loading, so I can try and attempt that for you, Dr. Cash.
All right. Well, there we go. The internet is doing its thing today. So we do want to just kind of remind folks that a lot of these opportunities are also a lot of these components of a strong dual enrollment grant application also are in the Golden State Pathways. And then just like this is a great one right here. For example, the question and the rubric talks about, if you can go back one more, it talks about pathway design, but the rubric doesn't call out dual credit in particular, but the instructions and the description of what pathway design means does talk about dual credit, right? So it would be to your advantage in your application if you explain how your school district offers dual credit, what courses are eligible for dual credit, what the formula is it transparent, do students and families know what that is, things like that. So there's all kinds of great stuff in there. But with that, let's go ahead and go to the slide 24, zooming out. Thank you, Laurencia. And we are going to turn it over to Adam from Unite LA, who's going to talk to us about some really cool tools. Adam, did you want to be able to share your screen?
Sure, or the slides are in this too, but actually it's easier if I share it and then I have to tell someone else about it.
Okay, great.
Oh, give me just a second to find the share screen button. There we go.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Adam Gottlieb. Like Naomi said, Director of Post-Secondary Strategy and Policy with Unite LA. She humbles me. I feel like I'm too egotistical to be down to earth, but I will do my best to be down to earth in this case. Just briefly, who is Unite LA? Unite LA is a nonprofit. We've been around for 25 years. We work in and around LA County, partners with CLP, Link Learning Alliance, LARC, and many of your schools and organizations I see on the webinar today to really work on promoting economic mobility in Los Angeles. We do so through the combination of education and workforce outcomes. We do that cradle to career. So we really look holistically from early childhood education to K-12 to higher ed to workforce and really work to ensure that our systems are aligned and that our communities have opportunities for growth and for expansion. Like Naomi said, we're going to talk a little bit about the bigger picture. So many of you may have seen this slide in the past. It's from July 1st, 2022. It's calling out the fact that in 2021, 2022, we had some of the largest budget surpluses, education related budgets in the history of the state, and by far leading the nation in opportunity for education funding, for workforce funding, and the alignment thereof. In so many cases, we asked, what are we going to do with all this funding? How are we going to align it? How are we going to make sure that there are opportunities to use this funding across school districts, across community college districts, and individual institutions, across higher ed institutions? Unite LA has been working for the last few months on really helping understand where the alignment is and how we can work toward that. So as you can see here are just some. Here are 10 of really dozens of funding opportunities that better align K-12, higher education, workforce. We've heard about dual enrollment pathways. We've heard about Golden State Pathways. I think we'll hear a bit more about it later. But we have $4.1 billion in community schools, $4.4 billion in children and youth behavioral health, almost $4 billion in expanded learning opportunities. We have almost $550 million in A through G, strong K-12 strong workforce, which Linda here represents for LA, 150 million, 500 million in learning aligned employment, really working with all higher ed institutions and local employers. California for All Job Youth Corps, really looking at volunteerism and looking at opportunities for internship, 185 million. And of course, the regional K-16 collaboratives, of which I'm going to dive into a bit later in the LA context, 250 million. So then we ask ourselves, we have all this funding, all these funding streams. There are so many different people who can apply for this funding, so many different avenues we can take to really ensure this funding is utilized. What do we do with it? And that's when United Way said, we really need to start mapping our state investments. We really need to make sure that we have some sort of tool that will show us what these investments are, how we can utilize them, who they're for, and how they align. So I'm going to do that very awkward transition from one thing to another. Please ignore all my tabs. And here you have a really just detailed, we hope it's detailed, crosswalk free wall. I hope you can all see this. I imagine you can. It shows you what we have here, 17 different funding streams that we've identified that relate directly from ECE to K-12 to higher ed to workforce. What we do for you is show you what the funding source is, and these link to either general information on those, or they link to the letter of the law, what bills they've come from and how the state sees them, or in many cases the CDE or the different government offices that are managing those grant opportunities, their websites about them. We try to give you a description to give you a basic understanding of what these opportunities are, how much money there is for the state, because we're an LA County based organization, how much money is going to LA County specifically through multiple funding forms. As you can see, some are still TBD. If we look at the dual enrollment, like Naomi said, we're still, those applications are due at the end of the month. We don't know how much is coming to LA County, so we don't know how many millions, but we know that's a $200 million opportunity, and a good share of that could potentially come to LA County. We show you the state administrator, when it's active, when the grantee, who the grantees can be. And then we move into who it serves, who these different opportunities serve, from pre-K to workforce, what sector focused prioritization are. Of course, you know that the governor's office has really worked on aligning our workforce system, specifically in these high yield workforce pathways for California. So healthcare, education, business management, computing and engineering. In this last budget, he actually called out the green sector. So there's opportunities here that we're actually working on expanding this and bringing in other grants that work in the eco sector. We provide activities such as integrated supports, things like dual enrollment, early college prep, expanded learning opportunities, and so on, and then just general information that's necessary for this. But the cool thing that we try to do with this and really try to help you out as you look for these funding streams to utilize, like for as you apply for these, is it's filterable. I'm going to use dual enrollment as an example. We can actually filter all the grants that relate to dual enrollment in some ways. So in this case, it's a regional K-16 collaborative, which again, I'm going to talk to you a bit about the LA version of that. Dual enrollment is one of the strategies that the state has outlined for that. Golden State Pathways program, very much dual enrollment based. The dual enrollment grant, surprisingly, is dual enrollment based. Who would have thought? And then you have these other, others, K-12 strong workforce. What does CTE dual enrollment look like? What does A through G completion improvement grant look like? LASWP and others have included dual enrollment in their A through G grant applications over the past few years. So looking at how this one activity aligns, you can then see what area, what sectors it serves, what grades it serves. Again, the descriptions, you can filter this in many ways. If you want to look at specifically education related grants, you see these, and again, you see almost the same exact number. We add a CC strong workforce there. This is only 17, again, of the dozens of funding streams. We're actively working on adding more as they relate, as they pop up in 2023 and beyond. But as you're applying for dual enrollment, as you're applying for Golden State Pathways, as we're looking at continued funding of strong workforce dollars, both K-12 and community college, really trying to understand how these opportunities align with one another and how we can, as a county, as a region, really use these opportunities to grow our efforts and grow our impact.
Adam, this tool is so fantastic. It is so phenomenal. And like folks who are tuned in, bring this to your grant writers, right?
Absolutely.
I'm wondering if you could talk about a little bit about the K-16 collaborative and how folks who are on this webinar or listening to the recording of this webinar might be able to become involved with those efforts.
Absolutely. Thank you for teeing me up. And so many of you on this webinar, I know have been to a number of our webinars, have been to some of our sessions, and thank you for doing so. I owe some of you emails, so apologies for that as well. But there's so many opportunities for this LA County group to get involved and really utilize these funding streams through what we're looking at as a really targeted effort in the K-16 collaboratives. So the K-16 collaboratives are based off of a 2021 higher education trailer budget bill piece of legislation. It offers $250 million across the state to create streamlined pathways from high school to post-secondary to workforce. 13 regions across the state were granted. Those align with the state SURF regions that were developed in 2021. That's Community Economic Resilience Fund regions, for those not with the acronyms. I barely remember the acronyms, so if I'm wrong, apologies. But what it worked out to be is 13 regions across the state have earned this. So far, 9 have earned the full amount of $18.13 million, including Los Angeles. 4 are currently in the building stages, working with a limited number or limited amount of funds to really build their collaboratives. In Los Angeles specifically, we began this work in September 2021, right when that budget was passed. We got together with our regional leaders from various K-12, various higher education, including LARC, industry, government, philanthropy, to discuss how we can collaborate as a region. Throughout 2022, we worked with design teams from these folks to really look at what we as a county want to concentrate on. And turned out we wanted to concentrate on healthcare and engineering, computer science. And after months and months of work and co-design and really building that collective impact structure, we were awarded this in August of 2022. And we're working since then to really launch the initiative. In that 6-month planning period, we developed 5 goals for the region. First, around college enrollment, increasing the students who enroll in college within 1 year of high school graduation, and persisting to their second year, eliminating racial and gender enrollment disparities, our second goal. Our goal 3 is degree completion. So earning an AA or an AES or an ADT degree in 3 years, or BA and BS in 6 years. So looking at those federal standards for completion. Streamlined pathways, again, looking at those AA and ASTs. And map transfer pathways and successfully matriculate to CSUs and UCs. And our 5th goal is really around learning aligned employment. Of course, we have a very large county with so many students, and in a county where 3 out of 4 students are students of color, we're really looking at ensuring that we close those equity and racial gaps, equity, racial, and gender gaps, actually, for those students particularly. So we're looking at serving BIPOC students, and when it comes to healthcare, or when it comes to engineering, computer science, really closing those gaps for women that are underrepresented in those fields as well. To do that, we have a number of objectives that we are kind of working through these goals. Our very first of which is to expand and enhance dual enrollment offerings. So what can we now do that we have $200 million in dual enrollment across the state to bring some of that money to LA? How do we use that to work with our community college partners, work with our K-12 partners, work with employer partners? We're working at CTE dual enrollment, working with CSU and UC partners that don't work on dual enrollment but might learn something. This is a collaborative opportunity for us to really say, hey, we have this funding now. What can we do to expand offerings, course registrations, completions, especially in these high yield pathways? Our second objective is enhancing transfer pathways through the creation of stackable credentials that are articulation between community colleges and CSUs. Our third objective is to expand work-based learning. You'll notice these align really well with the goals that we came up with, shocker. Really looking to improve students' economic security, but also early on career exposure and employer-aligned skill development. And of course, our fourth objective, aligning with this call today with the funding streams that we have available, expanding that regional and sub-regional backbone staffing, expanding the collective impact framework of the entire region using these funds to do so. One of the key priorities is to use the state's Recovery with Equity plan to really build on these goals and objectives. If you're not familiar with the state's Recovery with Equity plan, there's a link in this presentation when y'all get it, or I can send it in the chat once I'm off the phone, off the Zoom.
And Adam, this is fantastic. Folks are going to get these slides. Before we move on to Emily, if I am on this webinar and I'm like, yes, I want to do that, I am there. How do they get involved? Like, my college wants to do this.
We want your college to do it. Thank you, Naomi, for keeping me on time because I'm late. We want you involved. So what we're really doing is, if you can see here, we have our regional structure. You'll see that we have different hubs across the county. They fit into feeder patterns of CSUs, community colleges, and K-12 districts. We have sub-regional partnerships out of that we've built that we want you to be a part of. That it can be community colleges, K-12, higher ed, really everyone you see on this screen right now. The opportunity to get involved, I'll put a chat in the link, is we have an interest form for you to get involved. We have a number of sessions that we're conducting right now in order to help these new sub-regional partnerships to really build on the opportunity to build a applicant or build a proposal that really fits with your sub-regional needs, that fits with your dual enrollment needs, your Golden State pathway related needs, your workforce and so on needs. And we're here to help you with that. We're providing $3 million per sub-region to do that, or up to $3 million, excuse me, per sub-region to do that, and really building on that sense of collective impact and this collective proposal building. And here's information on all that. We'll get you the interest link and the email, but please feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the chat. We desperately need more participation from our more underrepresented K-12 districts, community colleges who are doing so much fantastic work. And we want you all to build on this effort with your CSU partners, with your employer partners, and so on. So I'm way over time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you so much. And I mean, it's really fantastic efforts. And again, this is all aligned, right? Your dual enrollment grant can really feed right into the K-16 collaborative work and the Golden State pathways. And with that, our dear colleague Emily is going to talk to us a little bit more about the Golden State pathways and efforts to support your work there. And then I promise you, we're going to save some really chunky time to ask all of those great questions about the dual enrollment RFAs, especially with Diane from CDE, who's going to be helping us answer those. So go ahead, Emily.
Thank you, Naomi. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. As you've already heard, my name is Emily Pashis. I have the pleasure of serving as the Vice President for Policy at the Linked Learning Alliance, where we spend all day, every day, thinking about how to get more young people access to really high quality college and career readiness strategies through Pathways work. So really thrilled to be able to share some of the work that we're doing in conjunction with Career Ladders and our friends at the Education Trust West and others across the state to really help folks think about tying together all of these different state grant programs that you've heard a little bit about today. If you go to the next slide, you can see a little bit about how we're thinking about this work. We are really trying to think about how to bring coherence to all of these different funding structures, actually build plans that are connected across all of these different funding opportunities and are in service to a bigger goal that, prepares young people for whatever comes after high school for them. We're especially at the Alliance spending a lot of time thinking about Golden State pathways, and you've heard that several times throughout the webinar today. So I'm going to take just a minute or two to talk a little bit more about the Golden State Pathways program. If you can go to the next slide. I'm going to try and talk very quickly about the GSP program and then talk a little bit about how it's connected to some of the other opportunities that you've heard about today. The $500 million Golden State Pathways program is designed to help expand really high quality college and career pathways for young people across the state. Folks will be able to apply for grants. I say folks, I mean LEAs will be able to apply for grants that support and help communities provide college and career pathways that provide an integrated program of study. So connects academic and career technical programming, provides all of the A through G courses that young people need, and at least one other element of California's college and career indicator. Those pathways also need to include at least 12 post-secondary credit opportunities for young people, so clear connection point to the dual enrollment CCAP RFP that you all have available to you right now. Those pathways also need to provide the sort of full continuum of work-based learning experiences that are so important for young people to have access to, but really emphasizes those higher intensity strategies like internships and apprenticeships as a key lever of building both professional and technical skills for students, but especially the really important social capital and professional networks that we all know is really crucial to providing equitable opportunity for young people across the state. And finally, those Golden State Pathways dollars need to be used to provide young people wraparound student supports through their pathway experience. So if you go to the next slide here, you'll be able to see we're really thinking about, gosh, there are so many points of connectivity in the Golden State Pathways program with other work that's happening across the state. For example, you could connect and fund some of the early post-secondary credits that are required to be provided to students through Golden State Pathways with a CCAP grant that you're working on right now. You also could connect, for example, your student support work to community schools work that you're doing in your community. So these are just two examples of obvious connection points that we see, but you've heard Naomi discuss some, you heard Adam talk about some just a minute ago. The opportunities are many to build really strong connections across your work and start to de-silo some of this work around college and career readiness. One more area of connection is around those priority grantees. You heard Laurencia talk earlier today about the priority populations for the CCAP and early and middle college high school RFAs that are out right now. Those are the same priority populations that you'll see emphasized in the Golden State Pathways legislation, in the community schools grant dollars, et cetera. So there is some real intentionality here to try to make sure we are being thoughtful and intentional about serving young people, particularly those that are furthest from opportunity, as we are building these programs funded through these grant opportunities. We're going to be doing a lot of work with Career Ladders and Ed Trust West in the coming months through this umbrella that we're calling Fast Forward California, with the focus really being about trying to help people create coherence in their strategies to support young people through college and career preparation. So if you have any questions, feedback, ideas for us, please feel free to reach out to me or really anyone on this screen today. We're happy to connect, share more about Golden State Pathways, dual enrollment, or any of these other funding opportunities that are coming your way. So with that, I will turn it back to our lovely MC, Dr. Castro.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, I think we can stop sharing now. Thank you, Laurencia, for jumping in with that. I so appreciate it. Panelists, but mostly Diane. We have a lot of great questions. I've been compiling them. Some of them you already answered in the chat, but I'd like you to go ahead and answer them out loud just so that everybody can hear. So first question is, can we use the dual enrollment grant to fund transportation for CCAP or earlier middle college students?
Yes, so after the first webinar, that question came up a lot and continues to come into my email boxes. So we have determined that transportation will be an allowable expense. It must be justified on the budget narrative, thoroughly explained and tied to the purpose of this grant. So those things that Naomi mentioned, pupil advising, increasing students, student success support services, or outreach.
Fantastic. Thank you. And then I saw you answer this one as well, but if you could just tell everybody, do the grants apply to middle school sites?
So throughout statute, it refers to high school and not middle school. And Naomi, I thought maybe you could help explain, like, have you ever seen a CCAP agreement with the middle school? So I can research that further as well. But there is also middle school academy grants. I just looked at the website and I don't think they're open right now, but there are grants specifically to middle schools as well.
Thanks. Yeah, actually, East LA College, as well as many other colleges, do provide dual enrollment to 8th graders. And of course, as a practitioner, you want to make sure the design is really strong with student supports. But I think they do. If anyone from East LA can chime into the chat and correct me if I'm wrong or give us more information, but I think they do robotics, like intro to robotics, which just sounds like so much fun. So thank you. There was also a great question about, are there examples of programs of like pathway design, and is the funding for staff to develop the program? So if you go into the Q&A area of the Zoom, under answered questions, you will see that Laurencia put a link to a lot of pathway design work, a lot of maps that include, some of them include dual enrollment in those pathway maps. And then yes, the funding can be for staff to develop those kinds of programs. Another question was, does the letter of commitment from the community college need to have the CCAP agreement, or is it just a letter stating the college is committed to working with our district? Diane, did you want to take that one?
Oh, sorry. I
no
was
worries.
looking at the Q&A. So it does not need to, the letter of support does not need to include the CCAP agreement, but it does need to just include that your community college is committed to working with you on creating the CCAP agreement or expanding it. So they need to be aware that you're planning to expand this agreement or obviously start a new CCAP agreement.
Great, thank you. Now this one is can be a little complex, so we're going to go slow here. Would a consortium application be allowed where multiple LEAs apply with a county office of ed lead, with each participating LEA potentially being awarded funding? Or are we looking at individual applications for each LEA?
So many different things came up that we haven't even thought about. So I did put in the chat that I'd like to ask a little bit more about what this consortium would look like and what would it do. Because I think in the intent of the legislation was for county offices to apply for like community schools, or not as a lead person for be an intermediary for the other district. So that's my read on the legislation. When county offices can apply as a LEA, it's for their community schools. But I will just reach out to me, please, and I need more information, I guess, before I can answer that.
And I mean, and we can say, just to help clarify for everyone, so an LEA is county office of ed, or a school district, or a charter schools can apply directly. But if you are a high school site, your school district is going to apply on your behalf. I mean, you're probably going to do a lot of the work in the application, I hope so, and then work with your district. Your district may submit 10 different applications for 10 different high schools. The funding will go be awarded per high school, but it is the district that makes application. So then, for example, those priority areas like serving a certain number of foster youth, or what the A through G completion rate is going to be by high school, which is pretty exciting, because sometimes, especially when we have larger districts, that those kinds of numbers kind of get lost in the aggregate. So it's nice to have them awarded and kind of tracked in that way. Let's see. Indirectly related to dual enrollment. Oh, and Adam, I think you answered this question, but I'd love you to answer it out loud. Indirectly related to dual enrollment funding streams, I'd be excited to know if the A through G completion grant allows K-12s to leverage dual enrollment to increase A through G completion through A through G eligible coursework.
Yeah, thanks, Naomi. And thanks, Matthew, for the question. Yeah, so the A through G implementation grant, which went out last year, A through G or dual enrollment was definitely a strategy allowable by A through G completion, because every district had a slightly different application. I know some districts that did have A through G in their strategy and are working actively through it for dual enrollment purposes. I would have to look at a list of the grantees and get back to you on specific ones in LA County if you're interested, but it is absolutely allowable if you check in with your A through D directors at your local districts.
Great, thank you. And then Emily, I think both of these questions from our dear friend Adam, who we both know, but beneficial to everyone, about the Golden State Pathways. Is there any indication of the number and size of pathway grants? And is there any indication of the timeline?
Yeah, great question, Adam, and glad to see you on the webinar today. So the legislation itself, well, I'll answer the first question about timeline. In terms of timeline, the only piece of information that we know about the timeline for Golden State Pathways applications is that there will be a technical assistance RFA for LEAs who would like to serve as one of the up to 10 technical assistance centers that are funded under the Golden State Pathways Program Act. That application per statute, those TA providers need to be selected at least 3 months before local LEA applications are due. So, so we have sort of an order of operations situation when the RFA comes out for those technical assistance centers. That will help us have a better sense of what the earliest date when local applications could be due could be. And then to your other question about grant award sizes, the legislation does not provide a cap on the dollar amount or any guidance on the dollar amount for the grants, but rather shares that information such as the number of pupils who will be served through the Golden State Pathways program, the number of pathways that would be built or supported through the opportunity, the number of partners, et cetera, will all be taken into consideration in determining the grant amounts themselves. So I am sure our friends at the California Department of Ed will put some guidance around some of those questions as they get ready to release the RFAs for those opportunities. Thanks for asking.
And if folks remember, it feels like a million years ago now, in the not too distant past, we had the CCPTs, which were similar, although it feels like the Golden State Pathways are much more refined. But they had kind of levels of potential awards depending on the size of your consortium. And so it feels like in the legislation that the shift is away from size of the consortium to really focusing on the number of students served, which that seems like a lot more logical to me. Any insight, Diane, or is that not your area?
It does. It is in my division. But I know they are moving along on it, but I don't know any other specific details to share besides that.
Great, thank you. I'm sure that was us putting you on the spot. I apologize, but thank you for being a good sport. And then another question that was in the chat, is it better to have the letter of support? So this is for the dual enrollment grants. Is it better to have the letter of support from the college district and not one specific college within the district?
Well, as I've learned throughout these webinars, it could be tough to get a letter of support from the college district CEO, I guess they call him, or president. So it might be better. It might be easier and faster to get one from the specific community college, but either one will work.
Fantastic. Yeah. So if you're in like Flynn with the chancellor, get a letter from them of the district. Otherwise, work with your local college. And this is a fantastic. In the chat, Abba is asking how to get connected with Blanca Gomez from ELAC. So Blanca, if you're still on, can you drop your email in the chat so Abba can ask you about establishing your dual enrollment and probably how exciting it is to do robotics with middle schoolers. Okay, we have just about 5 minutes left. If you have any other questions, go for it. I'm going to drop some links in the chat before we get we close out. I did want folks to know that our dear colleagues at the Education Trust West have also a lot of dual enrollment resources. They recently released a guide for students and parents, and it's in English and Spanish. And so I know colleagues are often asking for materials in Spanish in particular, but remember that you can use some of that funding for outreach. So here's a great example. We also, at the Career Ladders Project, we have a virtual community of practice that we host on the base. Oh, Blanca's address is in there. Go check it out. That we host on the platform Basecamp. And this is open to K-12 practitioners, county office of ed, community colleges, UCs, CSUs, community-based organizations, anyone who's interested in supporting dual enrollment. And this is basically practitioners ask each other questions and share resources. And so it's very much peer-to-peer kind of support. So send an email to Eder Flores. His email address is in there, and you can join up on that. And I'm also going to drop in the link of our website. We recently reorganized our dual enrollment page, which you can find under our work. And we also have a lot of tools and resources and news and research about dual enrollment. But CLP works on a lot of other things as well. So you can find out about more about all of that on our webpage. So with that, I think I'm just going to say thank you so much. Thank you, Linda Bermudez, for making this happen. Thank you for everyone who joined, and excellent. Oh, okay. So wait, we have minutes left. Gary asked, if this is our first go around at filling out these applications, is there a place we can connect and get assistance along the way? It's my first time, and I may need a little more direction. So plenty of folks are nodding yes. Linda, Adam, do you have some place where Gary can go?
Yes, put in the chat.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And also, Gary, you're going to need to work with your district, right? So your district is the one who fills out the application. So don't go too far down the road before you connect with your district about the about the application. I'm sorry, was that Linda?
Yes, thank you, Noemi. And Gary, we're also happy to help. We have a team of 15 pathway coordinators for the LA region, and we assist with anything, right, that integrates with K-12 SWP, including dual enrollment. So we're happy to help with any of these applications. I'll put that information in the chat.
All right. And with that, oh, it's a big love fest. All right. Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our wonderful panelists. Oh, shoot. People keep asking questions. I keep trying to end and people keep asking questions. We have time. Your application must include a letter of commitment from the college you intend to partner with, signed by the chief executive officer. Just to make sure, a letter from the community college district chief officer is okay. Diane said it's okay. It's okay. Excellent. Again, thank you all so very much. What a wonderful, great community we have here. Thank you so much. We'll be sending out the recording and all the appropriate links. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.